Remember getting home from work, and my mom was so fed up with me at the time. She threw all my stuff on the front yard, and I remember my stepdad saying, "Ryan, you're wanting to choose the school of hard knocks, but it doesn't have to be this way." And I just said, "Yeah, it does," and I took my stuff and I left. Next thing you know, within about 3 months, it turned into craziness. And we were around guns all the time. They were moving tons of stuff. They were getting it off boats from overseas. It just got crazy. I had friends getting murdered, and I ended up stealing 2 cars. Once I left the hotel room, I got in the second stolen car, and the police found me in the parking lot of the Motel 6. And I charged the police, and they tased me. And they tackled me, handcuffed me, stripped me of my clothes, took me to Harris County Jail in my underwear, put me in like a crazy person suit. And I was in this holding tank in the Harris County Jail with all these guys, and I just had this overwhelming sense to fall to my knees and cry out to God with whatever I had left in me. And just from the deepest part of my heart, I just cried out. And I turned my back on God. I turned my back on my family. And that was the last thing I remember for like 4 days. The next day was my court date, and so I'm in my orange jumpsuit, and it's my time to go into the courtroom. Out of nowhere, in the back of the courtroom, I hear, "Your Honor, Your Honor." And I look back in the courtroom, and my biological father, who hadn't really been in my life at all in almost 18 years, is in the courtroom. And my dad goes, "Your Honor," he goes, "I heard my son was in some trouble, and I think I might be able to be of some help. There's this place in Brookshire, Texas. It's called the Manna House. It's run by members of the Titus community." As soon as he said Titus, it was like God flipped a light switch on my heart, man. I had been in that book for 3 days straight. I knew this wasn't a coincidence, and I knew whatever Sanchez was telling me was true. And I just began to weep in the courtroom and just bawling. My dad looks at me and he goes, "Do you know somebody associated with them?" And I said, "I don't have a clue, but I just knew God was real." So the judge goes, "You know, you didn't have any drugs on you. I can't force you to go there. But if you want to go of your own free will, I'll allow it." And I said, "In a second, I'll go." As soon as I set foot on them white rocks, I just felt in my heart that like, I'm going to stop running from God. And I just stopped running from God. And I spent 8 months letting God just begin to clean me up. He began to show me all these wounds in my heart. As I renewed my mind with the washing of the water of the word, he began to heal my mind. And as I walked with him and learned who he was, that he just began to make himself more and more real to me. And that's exactly what he wants to do for you. And you might not have had all these tragic events, but you still have a hole that is here that needs to be filled with God, and you can't do it of your own accord. You have to go through Jesus. All you got to do is turn from the things that are separating you from God, ask Jesus into your heart, and begin to walk this thing out day by day, and you will see your life change and transform in ways you can never imagine.